Okay, it is now. I'm going to change a little bit from the agenda because we have Andrew Nave coming in online to give us a economic development forecast. And so I'm going to go to item G as in golf and ask Andrew, you should be online with us.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you, Chairman and members of the body. Thank you for allowing me to speak for just a few minutes. You have in your packets, and I don't know if Chad, if the ability to kind of share screen is there, if I can share screen, if not, that's okay. I can kind of just talk through it. But in your packets, you have on kind of page 102, you have the.
You can share screen, Andrew.
Okay, perfect. As I pull this up, you have in your packets kind of the summary document of the regional growth plan, which Chad asked me to kind of speak to. And I'm gonna go full screen, so there we go. You have in your packets on page 102 is the regional growth plan, which is kind of our region's kind of comprehensive economic development strategy. That's a kind of a one-page infographic that kind of summarizes it, and then pages 103 to 106 in your packet are kind of an executive summary of a more than 200-page document. But I wanted to take just a minute on screen to maybe kind of synthesize a little bit clearer for you all. Some of you have heard this kind of update, but on behalf of the Greater Wichita Partnership, which is kind of the region's lead economic development organization, we're happy to kind of provide an update to the body. As background for those that may not be as familiar with the partnership, the Greater Wichita Partnership is a nonprofit organization with 3 strategic priority areas. You can see those there on the screen. Focuses on jobs, talent, and quality of place. I won't go into that in great detail. I can advance slide here. There we go. The regional growth plan is, again, an economic development strategy for the region, and it's important to keep in mind that this plan is broader than just Wichita and Sedgwick County, and in the WAMPO territory, it's even broader than the MSA, that it encompasses the full 10 counties that constitute the Greater Wichita Partnership, and going back to the previous BREG, the Blueprint for Regional Economic Growth, a BREG jurisdiction of a 10-county area. And we think that that jurisdiction, while there's other REAP and some other boundaries, SCED and some other organizations have some really good territories that they serve, kind of all encompassing South Central Kansas. We think that 10-county area is as good as many others, for the simple reason that we think that's the best depiction of our labor shed. In fact, that 10-county area that you hear a lot of us talking about really comes from an old WIRED grant, a workforce grant from about 20 years ago that encompassed the labor shed. And what we found is that the workers in our region will drive roughly 45 minutes to an hour for a really good job. Some go further. Obviously, many go a far shorter commute than that, but most of our labor shed is pulling from about 45 minutes to an hour's drive. And from downtown Wichita, from the center of Sedgwick County, that's roughly a 10-county area. So north to McPherson County and Marion, south to the Oklahoma line, west to Hutchinson and Reno County, and east to kind of El Dorado and Butler County. So that's this boundary, this map. We started a process that extended on the good work of Wichita State from the BREG plan that was done many, many years ago, really in 2018, and kind of finished in 2019, of a strategic update called what we call the Regional Growth Plan. And we really wanted to kind of synthesize that, going from BREG, which was the Blueprint for Regional Economic Growth, but had maybe some misunderstandings or mischaracterizations in the community. When we updated the BREG plan, we wanted to simplify it, kind of just keep it simple, stupid. It was the Regional Growth Plan, and that's exactly what it is, the plan to grow our regional economy. So you can see some of the summary there. Many of the organizations on the call today were a part of that. WAMPO kind of indirectly through a number of organizations, Sedgwick County and City of Wichita, not the least of which, and then some regional economic development partners were involved in the Regional Growth Plan and funding this. But we engaged Market Street Services, which is one of the leading economic development consulting firms in the United States, to kind of help us really drill down. And this doesn't encompass the entirety of the plan. The plan is kind of premised on 2 facets. One, what your industry strength is, kind of what your economy is built off core industries. And so that was kind of the basis of the plan. But then also too, kind of a framework, or how do you drive tactics and strategies? And so there's kind of 5 strategic pillars that make up the plan, and that's included in that executive summary. But for today, I really wanted to kind of just remind this body and this group of the work that you do, the work of WAMPO kind of threads across all of these. It would be easy to kind of assume kind of transportation and logistics is kind of the obvious one, but really our road infrastructure, our physical infrastructure threads across all of these important industry sectors. And so you can see kind of there, the header above the graphic is kind of the what we call the cluster, or kind of the industry sector. And then those bullet points underneath are really important, because previously we had a really good discussion around how do we, strategies and tactics of how do we advance each of these industries. But as you all can plainly see, these industries are very, very broad. Agriculture, aerospace, oil and gas, healthcare. I mean, healthcare is 1/6 of the U.S. economy. So we struggle to kind of refine or hone in our opportunities in each of these industries. And we had many months of discussion and input and kind of public input and debate. And what we found was we have to kind of have niche opportunities, niche areas of focus. Doesn't mean that there's not other good opportunities in kind of subsectors of our economy that drive growth, but from kind of a community holistic standpoint, we have to prioritize. And so those bullet points underneath each of the kind of the industry sectors there are what we kind of characterize as kind of the niche sectors, or the niche opportunities that we are really focusing on, measuring projects, kind of marketing towards those segments of the economy, going to trade shows, trying to develop relationships, those kind of niche strategies. So that's the regional growth plan, kind of at a high level, I would say. It's really built on industries, because your industries are what drive your economy. I did want to share kind of at Chad's request just a minute or two on some kind of economic development momentum and successes from this last year. This 2021 is the 6th year of the partnership, so there's certainly good economic development success that's happened in the region for many, many years. But as we quantify things, we are tracking numbers over the lifespan of the partnership. And last year in 2021 was a very strong year. You can see on the screen there are a number of logos of new companies and expanding companies that have made economic development investments in our city and in our county and our region this last year. I won't go through all of those, but about half of those are new to the community. So Deloitte and the Smart Factory is a considerable investment. We just had the grand opening for Nova Coast there on the bottom left, is a cybersecurity company from California. Breck Manufacturing is another California manufacturer. But then we also have good, strong growth from existing companies in the region, which is what you always want to see. You want to see companies like Kansas Modification Center and MCAS and Airxcel. Those are existing manufacturers and existing companies in the region that continue to make investments. Quickly, I won't park on a lot. I know you guys have gotten a lot of data today, but kind of overall project activity. This pie chart kind of depicts the project activity of the partnership team, at least last year in 2021. So we had 104 new projects that kind of came in the door that our team worked with regional partners on. You can see kind of the industry breakdown there, that it kind of runs the gamut across those core industries that we're tracking from the regional growth plan. We're a manufacturing town, so a lot of that is going to be manufacturing. A lot of that aerospace in dark blue is aerospace manufacturing, whether it's a supply chain or potentially new OEM manufacturers, but we're working a lot of projects there. But we have a strong growing pipeline in IT, kind of that light blue off to the left is growing rapidly. Healthcare, we still have some projects. So some good overall industry activity. We also track our projects by type, kind of what kind of facility are those? Are those warehouses? Are those manufacturing? Is it just a manufacturing plant, or is it an entire company, the headquarters operation as well? You can see their call centers, data centers, track different types of facility investment as well, and you can kind of see that breakdown. I just have a couple more slides here, but I wanted this body to kind of understand the scale of the projects that we're working on here. You can see kind of on the left, that pie chart really starts to show the type of building requests that when companies are evaluating where to put a new investment, they do it by building type or property type generally. And most of those, they want to look at existing buildings. Companies are making decisions fast. They don't have a lot of time, and so they're looking to move into an existing office or an existing manufacturing plant. They don't have a lot of time. You can see they're kind of the average size of the projects, and the request that we get is 170,000 feet. If they're looking for just land for greenfield sites, it's more than 70 acres. So you can see there in the kind of the median, it's a little bit smaller than that, but we're getting much larger and larger projects each year. Just a couple more slides here on the kind of the looking at those same 105 projects that came in new to the region. We obviously didn't win them all. If we were to win them all, that would have been a total of 16,000 jobs. But the average of that kind of company, the size that we work with, is about you can see there whether it's 70 jobs or 183 on average. But important to note, I'm getting texts on my phone here. Up in Topeka, the Kansas legislature, the House of Representatives, is actually voting on a mega project bill, which many of you might be familiar with or have given support or testimony to. It's a mega economic development bill for projects over $1 billion of capital investment, or oftentimes described as over 1,000 jobs. We're getting more and more of those investments in our region as well. You can see that we have 3 projects over 1,000 jobs. And then this measures the capital investment, that's spend in real estate, that's spend in equipment. You can see there at the bottom, 5 projects over $1 billion of investment just last year. That compares to the 3 previous years combined, we only had 2 projects. So there, my point of conveying this message to you all is there is a massive amount of capital investment, typically in manufacturing, sometimes in data centers, but that are capital intensive projects that are looking for new homes. And obviously the partnership and with many partners is working feverishly to try to recruit those and try to win those to our region. This will be my last slide. This is kind of our active projects, what we have in our pipeline today, not just what came in the door last year in 2021. We had 13 successes that you saw there on that first slide, but we have 10 projects, 10 companies that are pending a decision, that pending an announcement. They're ready to tell the world that they're choosing Wichita or one of our communities in the region, or we know that we're a finalist. We're down to just 1 or 2, one other competing city, and then we have 49 active projects. So we track everything. There's a lot of data there, but I wanted you all to kind of have a depiction of kind of what we're seeing from an economic development standpoint. Chad, did that kind of hit on the items that you needed to hear from me?
Thanks so much, Andrew.
Well, thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it. Do we have any questions from anyone, either in the Zoom call or in this room, on anything that Andrew briefed today? I don't see anything, but Andrew, thank you very much for standing by and giving a briefing. If you remember last year, I had each of the communities go through and then tell us exactly what's happening in their communities and what kind of projects that they had and what kind of development and how that their communities are impacting by transportation and the need for being able to move goods and services in and out. And that's what, following that up now, because transportation is so important in moving goods and services, the logistics involved in that, I asked Chad and his staff to now start looking at other agencies, other organizations that are working economic development so that we can see what they're doing, because again, transportation is going to have a big impact on their ability to attract these jobs, along with workforce and a number of other things. But so we're going to have a number of briefings, not just Andrew's, but we're going to have folks each month come in and kind of let us know what's happening economically in our community for growth, so that we can make sure that we can meet the demand with the transportation that's required in order to be able to move those goods and services and personnel to make sure that our region can grow. So that's what my intent is as we move forward this year. Again, Andrew, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I don't see any questions.